And welcome to the stream, guys. We have an absolute. Can't hear me at all?
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I don't know what you were doing there.
I was just waving hi to all the wonderful people out there on this Saturday.
Okay. Well, we have an absolute banger for you today. Trump has unleashed a new program. He did this last night. I was a little bit under the weather, so I really did not. I was sleeping, basically. After the stream last night, I went to bed and woke up this morning. So there you go. But he has done something that we expected him to do for a while now. It's been reported, and yeah, he is saying that he wants to. He released a plan last night to merge the ATF and also the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, together. I've seen a lot of people say, "Hey, this is a great idea." Me personally, I do not think it is a good idea at all.
Worst idea I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is this is going to give him a chance. Well, maybe him, but it's going to allow them to weaponize stuff a lot more. We do not want the ATF rolled into another agency. What I want, and I'm sure Rich wants, and I'm sure everyone out there also wants, is the ATF to be shut down completely. We need to do it in 3 steps. First, we need to defund the ATF, because if we defund them, then they lose a lot of the Z power.
Yeah, then, no money, no BS.
Then what we want to do is we want to defang the ATF, remove their powers, and then
keep going.
Delete the ATF, the 3 Ds, delete the ATF, abolish the ATF, basically.
We have all sorts of law enforcement agencies, and the whole idea of hold on, where's my pocket constitution? The whole idea of how our government was designed, the federal government, wasn't that each little fiefdom was going to be an autonomous branch on its own. Like the EPA has its own courts, the IRS has its own courts, the ATF might as well have its own courts. It effectively does. The whole idea is that there is a separation of the branches of government so that they can't be a freaking tyrant. And this is exactly what we have. I mean, realistically, in my mind, the worst case scenario, the ATF should be Fat D, and that's it.
I don't think they should exist at all, but whatever. Whatever. They shouldn't exist, but it is what it is, right?
Amen. I mean, it's got to change. It's got to change. This is crazy. And I can't think of a worse scheme, as in, merging the DEA and the ATF. It's like, really? I don't. In the same way, I don't think there should be a law enforcement branch of the ATF. There shouldn't be a law enforcement branch of the DEA. The DEA should be making regulations or rules or figuring out what something is. It shouldn't be, executing search warrants and having a strike team.
Yeah, we need to. We need to minimize the ATF as much as possible, not put it into a different organization. The goal is to get rid of the ATF, 100%.
Look, anything that came out of the IRS should be abolished.
Yeah. The goal is to get rid of the ATF. By moving them, you're obfuscating the goal and you're making it harder.
Yeah, yeesh.
Joshua from Black Diamonds Guns and Gears, you should check them out. And I see Jordan,
Mr. Vinro. I missed.
That's what we need: more consolidation of power. Yeah, it's basically we don't want to consolidated power. We don't want to do that. We want to limit power and get rid of a lot of the power.
Yeah, more consolidation of super tyrant power. Yeah, no, ouch, bad.
So what we need to do, who told Trump that combining two bureaucracies is a good idea? I don't know, but around 7:30 last night, that's what was released.
Ouch,
Is
man.
his goal to merge the two out of control agencies? Because let's be honest, the DEA is out of control too. The war on drugs does not work. I am for the legalization of all drugs because choice, right?
And here, I'm not exactly with you on that Crump, but I know what we're doing isn't working.
Well,
so
here's something that Rand Paul once said: if we legalized heroin tomorrow, would you go out and do heroin?
No.
Exactly.
No, but I'll give a little cooling effect. I don't personally, I disagree with that statement because I've been on the bad side of people with addictive behavior. And even with, legal things, like alcohol, I don't think pot is that bad. And I'm not advocating for pot smoking. And when a state like Colorado, I understand it's against federal law, which I think is wrong what they're doing, but I enjoy seeing the experiment in liberty and freedom of them legalizing or decriminalizing marijuana and seeing the effects. I don't think it's working for them, but okay, good on you. Let's see how we have 50 experiments in democracy, or should I say constitutional freedom, any way you want to call it. I hate using the D word all the time because it's not accurate.
Well, this is what I think, right? Prohibition in the history of the world has never worked. Now, let's take a country like Portugal, for example.
That
legalized everything and took all the money that they were using to fight a war on drugs and put it into treatments and everything else, and their drug rates actually crashed. And it's not only that, there's other countries that have done the same thing, like Sweden, for example, and it actually crashes.
And I'm aware of what's gone on in Portugal, and I'm like, I'm in. I am ready to roll those dice. Let's, because what we're doing doesn't work. I think it's horrific what we're doing in the United States. I always look at the ROI, the return of investment on something. And when you look at like the Department of Education, we went from like 4th in education to 49th after 20, 30 years of the Department of Education. Now, granted, we got Mama Hoffman out there. How's it going?
Hey, Mama Hoffman, how you doing?
And so let's see. If Mama Hoffman's speaking out, I'm going to click on that comment. Drug issue in our country is a sign of hopelessness. Ouch. And I hope not. I mean,
I think she's right.
Grab a Bible. Grab a Bible and talk to somebody spiritual. Sorry.
Yeah. Sweden's problem is non-Swedes. That's true. That's 100% true. So, it could be a win-win, strengthen drug enforcement while eliminating the ATF. But I don't think it's going to eliminate the ATF. I think what this is going to do is when future people come into office, it is going to allow them to weaponize the system even more.
Yeah, good point on that. Because and that's kind of like I've always said, if me, Crump, or Dark were the arbiters of your freedom, you have nothing to worry about. But if we drop out of being king of freedom and somebody else comes along like Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris, yeah, you got to watch what you say or think because they're going to come after you for that. Like, you think praying in your head in silence across from an abortion clinic won't get you thrown in jail in the United States like it does in England? It may well. Crump Dark and I would be your arbiters of freedom and your rights, and that would never happen. But be careful who you set up. Oh, yet another deaf agency? Is it DEAF?
Yeah.
DEA ATF?
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? It's the same reason why I'm not for getting rid of the filibuster when we have control of all three chambers of Congress, because the political pendulum always shifts.
Right. And it's very ignorant to think, it's like a 2-year-old kid. I want it now. If you don't realize the pendulum is going to swing the other way, and you're going to be on the bad end of it.
Yeah, well, think about it this way, right? The Democrats removed the filibuster for judicial nominations, and they were like, "Oh, great, great, great!" And now look at them; they're screaming about it. They are screaming about it. Does this have anything to do with me? No, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but it's like they're screaming. Now they're screaming about this, and if we combine these two agencies, we're gonna set up a lot of political power and a lot of potential abuse in the future when the people that don't like guns come back into the mix.
Yes.
Barton Fink, here it is. The DEA and ATF should be merged, in all honesty, in the unemployment line.
Woo.
Yeah, so got him. Gonna give me him. But yeah, so I think this is a bad idea. I think that it's going to be weaponized in the future, and we all know that Biden weaponized a lot of the government. Now you're going to have someone coming in that's even worse than Biden, possibly in the future. I don't know who that will be, but someone will come in that's going to be worse than Biden, and they're going to use this to their full power.
And so, Crump, you accuse me of being a Trump fanboy. I'm calling a spade here. Trump does something. I may be a Trump fanboy, but look, I'm not going to say, no, if Trump's doing it, it's right. No, I am crazy against this.
Yeah, we all have to watch out for cult of personalities. And
Right.
There's a lot of people that will be like, oh, this is great because it's Trump. But no, you have to call them out, right? You can't do this go along to get along type of philosophy. That just doesn't work.
No, that's terrifying.
Who signed the bump stock? It wasn't.
Well, that was a rule.
It was a rule, but I get your point, and you're absolutely right. Live life. We're gonna have a lot more Wacos and Ruby Ridges.
Ouch.
Yeah. So we have to be honest with what happens, right? The war on drugs is the war on the people. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever we're doing, I know is not working. And I forget who did the book Fail Early, Fail Often. And there's a good lesson in that. I don't know if it's David D'Angelo, but the idea is understand the path you're taking is not working and change to a path that will work. And failure is an important part of life. Dan Bongino wrote a book on failure. These things are important. We're not getting there from here. And nobody is, taking a step back, looking at what these agencies are doing and saying, yeah, they are not achieving the initial objective. you got to have a goal, and you got to figure out a way to get there, and you got to be able to measure that success and correct your path based on the results. And they are not doing it. Nobody is stepping back and saying, "Oh, you know what? That was a bad idea."
Yeah. We've been doing the war on drugs since like the 70s, really. Even before Reagan came in. Reagan kind of like really ramped it up, but it has not worked. It has not worked. But we'll have to see. We will definitely have to see. But with that, just wanted to let you know what is going on, because it is going to get interesting here. It definitely will get interesting. And
Yeah, what was Trump Jr. doing? He rang the stock exchange bell for what gun company?
what?
Donald Trump Jr. was out, I think, Friday morning. He ran the stock exchange bell for some gun company.
I don't know. But David D'Angelo did not rate Phil Fast, Phil often.
Who was it? I know I get that wrong.
Ryan Babinox and John Crumbolt. So there you go. They're both PhDs. I don't know. I just looked it up. I don't think it was right. I just can't remember who wrote it. There's prostitution laws. I don't believe in prostitution laws either. Grab a gun. That's where you read it.
It's grab a gun, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it. Basically, just wanted to make a quick video to let you guys know what is going on over here, and let you know that we are still gonna be watching this. We're gonna see what happens, but hopefully this fails, and it will be good if it fails for the gun community, because we do not want to see the ATF merged. We want to see the ATF shut down.
Amen. And two-way fight will never end. Look at Hot Dog 990 with all the words of wisdom.
Yeah, you have to be. Reagan once said that you're only one generation away from.
It's interesting how that is. Yeah, it's funny. Like, your kids do not know what a rotary phone is or a pay phone is. They have no clue.
I didn't even finish what I was saying. You interrupted me in like a middle of a sentence. The one generation from, and you jumped in, but whatever. But yeah, Reagan already said, like, democracy is only one generation away from extinction, whatever. And with our rights, we have to be ever vigilant. That's why I always say we have to be ever vigilant, because we do. Because once we take our eyes off the prize, we stop fighting, it will be exploited tremendously.
And the Democrats, I mean, they're literally doing the Reagan 1,000 points of light. They have 100 different tactics for banning guns, taking your gun rights away. Just like they want a registry, they want to make everybody that buys and sells a gun an FFL. They want to be able to take FFL's rights away. All of these things that the Trump administration is going to some lengths to correct it could be instantaneously changed with the next Democrat administration.
No deaf agency. Good job. Good point. I'm gonna make a shirt that says that. Maybe we can combine them both and shut them both down at the same time. I don't see that happening though. But yep. That's it, guys. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you. I don't know if I have a video tomorrow. Hopefully not. And then we'll be back on Monday.
And Walt,
And
I sent you an email.
yeah, so I will see you guys later. Oh, bye. And I almost played the shut down the ATF video. Maybe I should.
Right.
Would you guys like to see the shut down the ATF video?
I'm sure they would love to see that video.
No, never mind. Just want to get out of here. I got stuff to do. Play it. All right, whatever.